Hadn't really trained, and I'd sweated off 15 pounds to be a welterweight.
Kris Kristofferson's life was one of brilliance, tragedy, and resilience. When he passed away in September 2024 at the age of 88, the world mourned not only the loss of a country legend, but also the devastating truth of his final decade. For years, doctors told him he had Alzheimer's disease. They prescribed powerful medications that only made him worse, leaving his family to watch helplessly as he slipped away. But in 2016, everything changed with a single test. The real diagnosis revealed not only medical malpractice, but a heartbreaking tragedy that stole much of his final performing years. To understand the weight of that loss, we need to go back to the beginning of his extraordinary story. Kris Kristofferson was born on June 22, 1936 in Brownsville, Texas, the son of Mary Ann Ashbrook and Lars Henry Kristofferson, a U.S. Air Force officer of Swedish descent. Kris grew up in a strict military household, constantly moving as his father's assignments took the family around the country. His father pushed him toward a military career, but deep down, Kris longed for a different life. That tension between duty and freedom would later define both his songwriting and his life choices. By the time the family settled in San Mateo, California, Kris carried with him a sense of wandering that became a recurring theme in his music. By age 11, Kris revealed a side of himself that stunned everyone. He wrote his first song, humorously titled, "I Hate Your Ugly Face." It was sharp, witty, and far from the innocent verses of most kids. Decades later, he included it as a bonus track on his 2009 album Closer to the Bone. It was an early glimpse of the biting honesty that would shape his career as one of the country music's boldest storytellers. At San Mateo High and later at Pomona College, Kristofferson proved he was more than just talented with words. He was a gifted athlete, excelling in rugby, football, and boxing. In fact, he became a Golden Gloves competitor and was even featured in Sports Illustrated in 1958 for his wide-ranging talents. He wasn't just an athlete, he was also an award-winning writer, earning multiple prizes from the Atlantic Monthly for his short stories. His creative brilliance earned him a prestigious Rhodes Scholarship, and soon he was studying English literature at Oxford University in England. At Oxford, he continued balancing brains and brawn. He boxed against Cambridge, earning Oxford's highest sporting honor, and played rugby while performing folk music under the stage name Kris Carson. He even signed a recording deal in England, where he was promoted as the Yank at Oxford. But more importantly, he immersed himself in the poetry of William Blake, whose influence would later echo through his songwriting. That unique mix of cowboy grit and philosophical reflection set Kristofferson apart from every other songwriter of his generation. After Oxford, he followed in his father's footsteps and joined the U.S. Army in 1961. He completed the grueling Ranger School, became a helicopter pilot, and reached the rank of captain. The Army even offered him a prestigious teaching post at West Point. But deep inside, Kris longed for music. In 1965, to his parents' horror, he resigned his commission, turned down a stable military career, and moved to Nashville. There, he took a janitor's job at Columbia Studios, sweeping floors by day and pitching songs by night. He later compared Nashville in the 1960s to Paris in the 1920s, a place alive with creativity where people stayed awake for days just to make music. Determined to be heard, Kristofferson pulled off one of the boldest stunts in music history. In 1969, he landed a helicopter on Johnny Cash's lawn to deliver his demo tapes. Although Cash wasn't home, the daring gesture caught his attention. Soon after, Cash recorded Sunday Morning Coming Down, which hit #1 in 1970 and launched Kristofferson's career. His own debut album soon followed, featuring classics like Help Me Make It Through the Night and Me and Bobby McGee. Ironically, while his own record struggled at first, other artists were turning his songs into hits. Janis Joplin recorded Me and Bobby McGee shortly before her death, and it became her only #1 single. Sammy Smith's version of Help Me Make It Through the Night won him his first Grammy. Suddenly, the janitor-turned-songwriter was one of the most sought-after lyricists in Nashville. As his music career flourished, Kristofferson also moved into acting. His breakout came in 1976 with A Star is Born alongside Barbra Streisand, earning him a Golden Globe. But Hollywood was not always kind. His role in Heaven's Gate nearly derailed his acting career when the film became one of the biggest box office flops in history. Still, Kris continued to balance music and movies, eventually finding redemption in the 1990s with his role in the Blade film series, which introduced him to a younger generation. His personal life was equally dramatic. His first marriage to Frances Beer ended in divorce just as his career took off. A brief romance with Janis Joplin ended tragically with her death. In 1973, he married singer Rita Coolidge, and together they recorded award-winning duets, but his heavy drinking destroyed both their marriage and his health. At one point, he was drinking a bottle and a half of Jack Daniels a day. It wasn't until he filmed A Star is Born, playing an alcoholic whose life ends in tragedy, that he saw himself in the character and decided to quit drinking for good. That decision may have saved his life. In 1983, Kristofferson found lasting love with Lisa Myers, a law student he met at a Malibu gym. They married and built a family of 5 children together, later moving to Maui to escape the chaos of fame. He often called it the best decision of his life. The 1980s also brought one of his greatest collaborations, The Highwaymen. Alongside Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and Waylon Jennings, Kristofferson helped form one of country music's most legendary supergroups. Their debut album, featuring the haunting title track Highwaymen, went platinum and cemented their place in history. For Kristofferson, it was a second career peak, proving he could reinvent himself time and time again. But in the 2000s, a new battle began, one he didn't even know he was fighting. While filming in Vermont in 2006, a tick bit him, leading to Lyme disease. For nearly a decade, doctors misdiagnosed him with fibromyalgia, then dementia, and finally Alzheimer's. He was prescribed medications that only worsened his condition. He forgot lyrics, struggled to perform, and at times seemed to disappear entirely. His family believed they were losing him forever. Finally, in 2016, a doctor at the Whitaker Wellness Institute spotted the real cause, Lyme disease. After proper treatment, the fog began to lift. Lisa, his wife, said it felt like she got her husband back after 10 long years. But by then, the damage had already been done. Much of his final decade on stage had already been lost. Kris Kristofferson retired from touring in 2021, choosing to spend his final years in Maui with his family. His last public performance came in 2023 when he joined Roseanne Cash at Willie Nelson's 90th birthday celebration, singing Loving Her Was Easier. Just a year later, on September 28, 2024, he passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by loved ones. He left behind Lisa, their 5 children, his 3 older children, and 7 grandchildren. For his family, Kristofferson's story didn't end there. Rainbows held special meaning for him, and in the weeks after his death, a rainbow appeared over the ocean near their Maui home. For Lisa and the children, it was a sign that he was still with them. His family said whenever someone sees a rainbow, they should think of him smiling down. In that way, Kris Kristofferson's legacy lives on not only in his timeless songs, but in the sky itself.